All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have the very first artist to actually go platinum out of Ohio, and of course, he is also an inductee into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. We got the one and only M.C Brainz right here live on the line, man. How are you doing this evening?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. I gotta say, first and foremost, Brains, thank you so much for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM airways, man. I've been a fan for a long time, so it's truthfully an honor.
No, man, I appreciate you having me, man. It's mutual respect, mutual honor. I couldn't do what I'm doing without your support. It's vice versa, so it works hand in hand.
But I know you're a busy guy, Brain, so I'm going to dive right in this broadcast. But I want to take you back to the beginning of your iconic career, and I have to ask first and foremost, what actually made you decide to pursue a career within the music industry initially, man? Because when people go back and even listen to your debut project, you're so natural at what you do.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a music family, man. My stepdad was the founder and the money all behind the group, the Jazz Band. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they made a song called Let It Whip. And I was just, sitting on the lap doing a lot of recordings at a lot of concerts with my parents. And my dad, my biological dad, is where I truly get it all from, and genetically, because he's an incredible performer, and he had a genre of music that he did called high rock gospel funk. And he went by the name of King James. So I was always around music and had it in my blood. So, coming up, I always was into rap music and, being a listener. And I started out as being a beatbox. But at school, I noticed that no one really paid attention to the beatbox. They was paying attention to the rappers. So one day I went home and wrote me a rhyme, and I came on back. And ever since then, I've been spitting ever since, man.
And also, as well, actually, in the early 90s, I actually read that you were actually discovered by the iconic Michael Bivens of New Edition. I was wondering, can you tell us the story behind that? And, of course, how did yourself and Michael originally get connected? Because that's an amazing individual to be discovered by.
Yeah, man. Well, I was always proactive about pursuing my career as far as I was always in the talent shows and things like that. And so because of that, people knew to contact me when opportunities were available. And a friend of my mother a friend of the family really contacted my mother and told my mother that Michael Bivens and BBD was up at Denny's. It's a restaurant called Denny's that's like a diner. So they were there after a tour. 16 years old then. And my mom woke me out the bed and said, hey, we got to get up here. And so just to show you the support system I had, my mom got out the bed in her nightgown and her trench coat, and we went up to the restaurant. When I saw all of the people in the parking lot and Michael Bivens and them was leaving, I kind of choked up and I said, nah, Mom, I'm cool. And she said, no, you didn't get me out here. No, you're about to rap today. So she went out the car and she went over to him and said, you need to listen to my baby rap. And she convinced him to do it, and she waved me over. I started spitting my rhymes. I had a demo tape. Thank God to, again, the moral support, the support of my parents and the neighborhood. I had a demo tape, so I was prepared, but he asked me to do it on the spot. So I decided to get on the mic, get on there and do it on the spot. I had a song I did called Don't Let Me Get Loose. And because I did it in a lot of talent shows, the people in the crowd were familiar with the lyrics to that song. So as I sang that song in the parking lot, the people in the parking lot started singing the song with me, and he was impressed by that. So maybe about 2 weeks after that, I got a call from a producer. And then maybe another week after that, I got plane tickets to California. And that was my first time ever flying and all that whole nine. And, coming where I come from, we was in the streets. So, it was like a blessing because what I was into before I met him, I probably was on my way to the penitentiary or into somebody's grave site. So it was a blessing in disguise when that happened. And I left and I went to California and I met him at the airport. And when I met him at the airport, we left there and we pretty much just turned my whole life around in like freaking a week. So it was kind of like a Cinderella type thing, man. You know, you can't really plan for that. It just kind of happens, and it happens because you're putting all your energy towards it. You know what I mean?
And that well-known song that you actually did at talent shows and whatnot, was that song actually on that demo tape you were actually presenting to him?
Yes, it was. And actually, the song was actually on the Lover's Lane album. It was "Don't Let Me Get Loose."
And also as well, on March 17th of 1992, since we're actually on the topic of Lover's Lane, you actually dropped that album on Motown Records. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this iconic record, and of course, what was it like actually just working at Motown for your debut? For your debut record.
Yeah, well, at the time, I was kind of just hanging out, and Michael Bivins came. I was kind of hanging out with Boyz II Men and ABC, going on to their events and things like that, and their interviews and things like that. And Mike came up to me one day, and he had a tape, and it was a beat on it, and he asked me, could I write a song called Oochie Coochie La La La? And I said, yeah, I can write that. And he gave me the beat. And I hadn't heard it yet. I waited until I got to my room, and I listened to the music, and I wasn't impressed with the music. I wasn't impressed at all, just for the simple fact that I come from the hood. So I'm listening to Ice Cube. I'm listening to Ghetto Boys, et cetera, Big Daddy Kane, LL. That's what I'm listening to. So when I heard that music, it kind of threw me. It was a challenge because I didn't know how to approach it, but I really did know how to approach it. But I got on the phone with my mom, and my mom said, "What you gonna do? You're a songwriter, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm a songwriter." She said, "Well, then write the song, baby." So I hung up from her. I wrote the song, and when I wrote the song, I wrote a hit record. You know what I'm saying? So it showed me the difference between just making songs and how to make a hit record. It's not about what I like. It's not about a certain genre. It's just about a good record that everybody can enjoy. So we recorded this song, and I was traveling with Boyz II Men and ABC, and one of their stops was the Apollo. And I was sitting in the crowd. The crowd wasn't there. I was sitting in the empty Apollo, and I was sitting in the seats watching them perform, watching them rehearse. And as they rehearsed, Michael Bivins came and sat next to me, and he said, "You want to do the song you did in the studio?" And I said, "Here on the Apollo?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Okay, let's do this." So he got me a dressing room. They added me to the roster. They went and got clothes and all that whole nine. And before I even had a record out, we did Oochie Coochie on Apollo as a guest, and we got a standing ovation with it. So immediately Motown contacted us and said that they need a video immediately. So we did the video immediately, shot by Lionel Martin, a great videographer, film producer, and we shot that at Warner Brothers Studios. And we also had Tamrock on that record, which is, I got to give her the props because that was just like a great element to add in the record, and the ladies enjoyed her every time that record was played. She's from Detroit. She's now, via California now doing her thing. But I did that, and immediately we had to do the record. The song, within a month's time, roughly went #1 in the country rap record. And a lot of people gave me slack for it in the hood because they're looking at it like it's a pop record, but it was the #1 rap record. And the record that I wrote, I enjoyed it. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's history. So many people remind me of how great the song is, so it showed me how to make great music. So we dropped that, and then I had 30 days to do the album because it was moving so fast. So I did some songs with did a song with Johnny Gill on the album. I did a song, second single, Everybody's Talking About M.C Brainz. I did that with Lady V for the Mary Jane Girls. I got Boyz II Men on the album, 2 great top 40 records. Boyz II Men, the single, Brainstorming. We got great records from that album, man. I even got a record with Michael Bivins. So we had a great time recording that album. Even though we had to do it in the flash, we had a great time recording the album, and it was very successful. We got a platinum single, and we got a gold album.
And from what you remember, when you say that album was recorded in a flash, like how long would you say, from what you remember, that album was actually recorded in?
It took about 30 days.
I got to say that's actually fairly quick actually for an album. I know a lot of people probably sitting back being like, that's quick, but that's actually really freaking quick. 30 days for everything, but it sounds
phenomenal. Man. Yeah, and and on top of it all, this is 16, 17-year-old kid just writing all this stuff.
And also as well, when you actually brought up Boys to Men, actually throughout the story of that album, you guys actually formed a group titled East Coast Family as well, alongside the one and only Val Young. I was wondering, could you tell our listeners a bit more about the group East Coast Family, and of course, what actually made you guys decide to come together and form this amazing group?
Well, the East Coast Family was a collaboration of artists that was up under the Biv Entertainment umbrella, and it was only right that we all came together and did a project, just for the simple fact that, you know, everyone affiliated us together, and it was so much different talent. It was nobody in the same lane, so it was a mixture, a gumbo of talent, and you know, Mike thought it would be a good idea for everybody to do a project together, and it came out good. It was fun. We had a great video shoot, man. Everybody was there at once. You know, we was all busy, so we was in different places but it took one time, and it was a ball, man. We had a great ball with that project.
And also as well, in the 1990s, you also had the opportunity to actually perform at the iconic Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about that experience, and of course, how did that opportunity originally arise for you? Because, you know, Dick Clark, New York City ball drop, I gotta say, that right there is every artist's dream, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, man. God, I give it all to God, man. God has blessed me to see some amazing things in my life, and He continues, man. Again, I was hanging out, doing what we do. Boys to Men was actually featured on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve, and they called me in to actually fill in for Mike on the Motown Philly side of things. Mike had talking parts on there, so, you know, they had me fill in for there, and then I did a little bit of my thing, and, you know, that's history there, you know what I'm saying? So it was just, it's just, I know that I'm here to do what I do for the things that God showed me that, and it just comes from being proactive about what I want to do.
And I gotta ask as well, what stage did you actually perform on? Because I don't know. I know nowadays they have like the Los Angeles stage, I believe it's the New Orleans stage, and the New York stage. What stage did you actually perform on that night? Sorry, are you there, Brainz?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was a great experience. Not only that, to even meet Dick Clark, you know what I mean? Like that within itself, outside of the performance, outside of being there, to even meet Dick Clark is just phenomenal. You know what I mean?
And also as well, in the year 1996, you actually had the opportunity to work with the late great M.C Brainz on his record "To the Beach Y'all." I was wondering, how did yourself and M.C Brainz get connected, and of course, what was it like just being featured on his song "Choose One"?
Well, me and Brainz met in Cleveland, Ohio, and Brainz was actually a fan of mine, and it was actually surprising because I was out somewhere and we met. I think it was at a club, and then he came through to the house. And when he came through to the house, I was kind of in a place in my career because I missed out on a lot of things as a young man that young men should probably get as far as life is concerned, because I was so busy on the road. So at this particular time, I was kind of on chill, kind of just learning life as a man. And when I saw him, he was like, "Man, what's up, man? What are you doing? Are you doing music? You doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm doing music, but I'm just kind of." You're like, "Man, do you know who you is, man? You M.C Brainz, man. Come on, man. What we got to do?" So he pretty much pumped me up and talked me into moving to Atlanta. And when I moved to Atlanta, actually moved into his home, and he let me stay in his home for a few weeks until I got a condo. And when I got a condo, he helped me work a deal with John Abbey over at Itchy Bond Records. And he showed me how to do it as an independent artist. He was the first one to show me how to operate as an independent artist way before all these independent artists is moving now. And that was my best friend of the music industry.
And I got to say as well, rest in paradise to the one and only MC Brainz, man. Such a phenomenal individual, such a talented individual. Gone way too soon, in my personal opinion.
Yes, man. Yes, and he was such a people's person. I mean, Breed would walk in the room and everybody loves him. Breed was never on a major level, but was able to do records with major people, and that was because he had a bright spirit, man. And I always big up Breed because I'll never forget what he did for me and what he done for so many other artists.
And also as well, you actually had the opportunity to actually to host the iconic television show Yo MTV Raps. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that, and of course, what was it like just being on the set alongside Ed Lover and Dr. Dre?
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, man. I think when I went and did that, it was kind of like everything was becoming surreal. Like it was just crazy to be there because you got to remember, again, I'm a teenager, man. So I was just at home a couple of months ago looking at this on TV. You know what I'm saying? And to actually be here and on the set is just mind blowing. But I've always been taught by my mom to, when it's time to turn it on, you turn it on. I don't care who it is or who you're in front of or whatever. Her refereeing was always turn it on. It's time to go. So I was always ready to go when it's time to go. And we host the show. I got a chance to host it. I got a chance to, see the set. And it was just dope, man. It's just to experience it.
And I gotta ask as well, because like unfortunately that show is no longer on television, which I gotta say in my personal opinion that absolutely sucks because I used to love actually just watching that every night. But I have to ask as well, what was the atmosphere like on set? Because I do know they actually had like live performances on the show as well. When you actually were backstage, like, is it a lot different from any other normal TV show that you actually experienced, or like, what was the atmosphere like actually on set of that particular show?
It was real New Yorkish. It was real. It was nice though. It wasn't an audience. It wasn't any of that. It was just filming. But it had a hip hop vibe, and just all of the people that been through there. You kind of felt that when you was there. You know what I'm saying? You kind of felt the whole presence of all of the great MCs that been through there. Just for me to be there and doing that. It's just an honor, man.
And also, as well, you are actually the founder and CEO of your own company titled Gettin' Brainz Entertainment, where you also manage other artists as well. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about your company, and of course, what artists are currently signed to you today?
Yeah, my company is Gettin' Brainz Entertainment. I'm a multi-service, entertainment company. My priorities is focusing on artist development, but we do more. We could do production, we do songwriting, we do event hosting, we do some of everything. But we mainly focus on artist development and building these artists up to where they are their own business. I don't sign artists up under me. I sign artists beside me. So any artist that's with me is my partner. This is my partner, 50-50. So I teach them how to be businessmen. I show them how to start their companies. I show them how to incorporate their companies and all of that, and make sure that we're operating as partners. From my experiences, I don't want anyone under me. I want them just to be beside me, and we get each other there. You know what I mean? Also, we focus on not doing the same thing because something that's missing in music now and I'm sure you know this word, but back when I started doing music, you was a biter if you did anything like anyone else did. You were considered a biter. It was like the number one law of hip-hop. If I did something like you did, everybody called me whack. So now, the way the music industry is, a lot of artists are sounding the same. I like the music, but I just hate that it all sounds like one big old song when I listen to the radio. So my focus is making sure that my artist is not spitting out the same thing that everyone else is spitting out. So they have their own identities, man. And I got Hell Veil is my ace in the hole. That's my shooter, Hell Veil, man. And he's a great artist. When I first met Hell Veil, I realized that he actually knew how to rap. And that's what attracted me to him. He actually still has notebooks and ink pens. He's not writing his rhymes in his phone. All of that attracted me to Hell Veil and made me want to work with him. And since then, we've been doing great, man. His first album is out. The name of the album is Cleavelle Land. He got it on all platforms. It's at his site, hellveil.com. We're moving those units, and we're just pushing his career along. We're getting ready to drop another album on him when the summer comes, which is pretty much done. And I'm doing a lot of production for different artists. I don't know if you heard of Phil Whedon with the Extreme Hip Hop. I did all of the production for all of his DVDs, and that's huge right now. And I'm working. I'm touching on a couple other artists that I'm about to start working with now. But Hell Veil was my priority.
And also as well, I have to ask because, like, obviously, you know, you work with artists like you just mentioned, but for individuals that are listening that might be an independent artist that want to actually get their next project actually produced by the one and only MC Brainz, I was wondering how can they actually go about contacting you, and of course, how would they go about contacting? Because I do know when some individuals reach out for business, they want certain things like maybe a bio, maybe an EPK. What do you actually? How do they contact you? And of course, what would you like them to send you if they do indeed reach out?
Well, if they reach out, they can reach out to me. They can DM me, or they can actually go to mcbrainz.com and get in contact with me easily. All you have to do is use the resources at the site, and it's easy to get to me. But if you go up under the Getting Brainz Entertainment tab up under my site, there's a Getting Brainz Entertainment tab, and that's mcbrainz.com, mcbrainz with a Z.com. And you can go up under the Getting Brainz Entertainment tab, and you can see our services and stuff like that. But I'm very, 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 very selective about who I deal with because it's about personality and it's about talent. It's a combination of the two. They can be incredible, but if they not good people, it ain't going to mix with my camp and what I got going on. I believe in good energy and good vibes. I don't believe in, just because you so dope that you can be an a-hole. I don't rock like that. And if it's auto-tuned out and all that, I think, don't get me wrong, I think it's nice, but I've heard enough of it, so that's not going to impress me. The auto-tune thing is just wore me out. So me getting that is I want to hear the voice. A lot of these people is hiding these beautiful voice behind that auto-tune. And I would like to hear voices. I like to hear different. So if you are different, please contact me because I'm on it if you're different.
And I gotta say, Brainz, I definitely agree with that 100%. You know, I always call auto-tune, like a machine doing it for you. You know, it's hiding your talent. I gotta say, it's actually a breath of fresh air to finally hear someone that actually agrees with me on the auto-tune thing. Because that's why I started my station. Because unfortunately, I'm sick of auto-tune. I miss the real hip hop.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man, and let the ones do it that do it. T-Pain, Roger. They had Roger. We had T-Pain. Now, and they can have Future, but just leave it there. You know what I mean? Just leave it there. We got to hear the new. When we were coming up, we was able to pick our poison. We could listen to some LL, or we can listen to some Scarface, or we can listen to some NWA, and we can listen to some De La Soul. We can listen to some X-Clan. We can listen to some, I can keep going on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? We can listen to Third Base. I can keep going. We was able to pick different, whatever we wanted to hear. And now you don't have that selection anymore.
Yeah, it actually has the real hip hop heads like living in the early 2000s, the 90s, and the 80s just to actually get their hip hop fix nowadays.
Right, exactly. But it's important for the people that paved the way to make sure that we contribute. I don't like the OGs that's complaining and not doing nothing about it. Do something about it. Put good music out there. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to put good music out of there. You know what I'm saying? We believe in realistic goals. You know what I'm saying? If you go off of my artists, we are on the streaming platforms and that whole nine and all that, but realistically, as businessmen, like I told you, I'm teaching my artists, his record sales is at his website. Because guess what? We got to get 10,000 to get $10. We got to get 2,500 streams to make $10 on those streaming sites. That's not good business. This Spotify owner is $38 billion rich. $38 billion rich, and he hasn't wrote one song. And he's paying these artists pennies. Tidal, paying these artists pennies. They're robbing the artists. So for me, as a businessman, and my artists as a businessman, I teach them about direct sales. If y'all want to support these artists and help these artists, and I'm speaking about artists in general, streaming their music does not help them financially. It takes them a long time to do what they got to do. I could send my artists in the club with 10 of their albums, and they'll come out with $150 when this other artist is waiting 2,500 streams to make that one album sell. That's not good business. So for me, that's what I'm teaching my artists. I'm teaching my artists direct sale, out the trunk sales. Out the trunk now today is straight from the site and out the trunk. And we do flash drives. We put our music on flash drives along with the video, and we sell it like that as well. But the streaming sites is just pure D robbery.
And also, when we're actually on the topic of website album out the trunk sales, in the year 2019, you actually released your album titled Cinderfella, man, that I gotta say is absolutely phenomenal. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about this most recent project, and of course, I know you already mentioned that it's on that you know they're on the website and whatnot, but can you tell us a bit more about this phenomenal project?
Yeah, man, I had a ball with that project. I recorded that project myself because I became an engineer / producer maybe about 8 years ago. So I started learning the studio. I've been seeing it all my life, but I started to want to be hands-on. So I had a lot of great producers on that track, on that project, but I actually recorded it myself. So I was able to take a project for the first time and sit with myself with it and just have fun recording. Like I actually hit the button and recorded every vocal. You know what I mean? So it was fun doing that project, and it was very personal for me. And that was one of my most memorable projects to me. So now with that project, it's moving, and I like the way it's moving because a lot of people come to me and they say, Brainz, we haven't heard no music since. I say, well, if you want my latest album, just go to mcbrainz.com. It's there. You know what I mean? So I like the fact that it's there, and that's why I like the website thing, because I'm able to point people straight to it. You know what I mean? And they can also go to my site and get all of the other albums and things that I've done. I got mixtapes on my site. I have my first project on my site. I have everything I've ever done is there on my site. So, you know, a lot of people looking for Oochie Coochie and stuff on the streaming platforms and stuff like that. But it came out so early, we kind of missed that boat, and we never went and touched it and put it on there. But it is always at my site.
And also, as well, as I mentioned during the intro to this interview, that you have also been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a bit more about this prestigious induction, and of course, how did that originally come to be for you?
Well, Well, let me clear up some things because I've had a few people attempt to correct that statement. To be inducted takes the whole ceremony and the whole ceremony they have every 4 years or whatever like that. So I guess that's what they would consider inducted. But if you look up the word inducted, I've been inducted. But anyway, there's a pair. They put an exhibit in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with my artifacts, and it's there for life. And I'm there as Ohio's first platinum rap artist. So it was great. The curator there, her name is Waka. She made sure that my history was there, and I was able to share that with my kids and my grandkids, and it was just beautiful to see why I'm alive. Like, my sneakers is right next to Flavor Flav's clock and Ad Rock lyrics and Tupac's lyrics, and it just feels dope to be amongst the greats and to be able to, my kids to be able to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and say, that's my granddad, you know what I mean? Or my kids say, that's my dad, you know what I'm saying? It's just people that I am a fan of is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame yet. May not ever get there. So I know that it's a blessing, you know what I'm saying? So, again, God keep blessing me is the reason I continue to push. If I wasn't doing what I'm doing, I'm an unhappy person.
And I got to say as well, it must have been a surreal feeling just being able to see all that as well, and just like I think that's right there is actually when you realize, you know what, I've achieved everything, I've achieved greatness. It's being able to see your stuff, like you said, next to all those fellow legendary individuals just like yourself.
Yeah, man. So and then when things like that happen, that's confirmation. You know what I mean? That's confirmation. So I'm just happy that I'm blessed and God keeps showing me things to let me know I'm going down the right path. And I feel like now it's up to me to make sure that I pass on the things that I know. You know what I'm saying? I think it's very important for me to do that. But I'm not just an artist, man. I'm an artist manager. I'm also a producer. I sit in the studio probably 3/4 of my day, and the other bit I'm sleeping. So, it's always about work, and I'm looking for upcoming producers. I got a couple upcoming producers that's about to come down with Getting Brains Entertainment. So, we just building a family, you know what I'm saying, and a healthy work environment where the vibes is always there and on point.
And also as well, I was wondering, what is next for yourself, MC Brainz? Is there anything we happen to miss during this broadcast? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? Well, we still got you here live on the FM dial here this evening.
Yeah, well, we're about to start working on the new MC Brainz project. We actually already started. We're working on the new MC Brainz project. This project, I just want to make good music for my adults. As adults, we have no rap music as far as adults in general. We have no music, and I want to make sure that I'm there for them for that. The dope hip hop and R&B that used to be there that we all love, I'm about to make sure I do a full album of that, and we're gonna put on the linen and the hats, and we're gonna go woo these ladies and dap up the gentlemen and give them some music, man. That's what's important to me, and just good records. It's not about proving how good I can rap and all of that whole nine. Again, I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So now it's just about making good records. I don't care about the dopest lyricists. I just want good records. So I'm teaming up with a lot of R&B singers and all that whole nine. We're getting a live band together, and this summer we're gonna have a lot of fun, man. I'm gonna mix a little bit of comedy in with it. We're gonna have some comedians come out on the road with me, and while the album is getting recorded, the COVID kind of thing is going crazy, so we kind of tiptoeing around that. So we had a 90s party that we was actually doing in every city. So, with the COVID thing, kind of slowed that up, but with God's grace, we'll be able to get back on track with that. You know what I mean? Also had the Brainz Davis show, which is on YouTube, that we started maybe a little while ago when COVID started. and COVID kind of stopped that production because we were traveling from back and forth from Cleveland to Atlanta, actually doing that filming. But I want to start that back up. So we're about to get that show back in production and back going and giving it the full promotion that it needs, because it's a great show. It's a fun show.
And also, Brainz, this is the time in the interview that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on the legendary MC Brainz if they're not already doing so.
Yeah, and I mean, also, too, another thing that we do over here, man, is we make sure we get back to the community, man, with my brother Dollar Bill, my buddy here in Cleveland, man. My brother's named Dollar Bill, and we do a lot of philanthropist type work. You know what I mean? We do a lot for the community, and I'm actually picking up doing more in the community through him. So he's been inspiring me to do more in the community, and we just pushing forward, man. And also, to catch me, you get me at MC Brainz. That's Instagram, at MC Brainz with a Z. You can get me at mcbrainz.com. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. Facebook. I'm on Facebook at MC Brainz 216. MC Brainz with a Z 216, and also Brainz Davis on Facebook. Twitter is MC Brainz 216. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. That's all I handle.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, Brainz, I've been a fan of you for a long, long time, so thank you so much for just giving not only myself, but the radio station airwaves a bit of your time here this evening. And of course, thank you for making phenomenal music that all of us had the opportunity to enjoy for so many years. And of course, I'm pretty sure I can speak for the rest of the fans as well, that we are definitely looking forward to hearing the brand new record when it does drop to the general public.
Yeah, man, thank you. And I had to say this to you, man. I toured all of Canada with Jordan Knight maybe a few years ago when he had a solo project he was doing, and we toured all of Canada, and I opened up for him, and I had to say that I had a ball in Canada, man. I did not see one fight. I didn't see one argument. I saw a bunch of people getting drunk and having fun and smoking good herb, and it wasn't no problem at all. I had a ball in Canada. I just had to speak on that. Canada was great.
And I gotta say as well, when it comes to Canada and hip hop, you know, we unfortunately we don't get a lot of great hip hop shows out here due to our border services. Like you know what I mean? They're a nightmare.
Right.
So the fact that MC Brainz was out there, you know, a lot of individuals, they couldn't even get mad. You know what I mean? They're just enjoying some good hip hop.
Yeah, I think I met Snow there. I think I met Snow, the rapper Snow.
Oh yeah, he's a huge Canadian legend down here. He actually branched off into the States as well, which unfortunately not a lot of Canadian artists do that unless you have a stature. Unfortunately, kind of like Drake.
Yeah, Snow came to one of the shows, and I got to meet him backstage. He was a real cool freaking dude. Real cool. So props to Snow, man.
But I gotta say, Brainz, first and foremost, thank you so much again for this, giving us a bit of your time here this evening. It definitely was an honor. I gotta say, definitely have yourself a wonderful night, and hopefully down the line we can make this happen again sometime soon.
Yeah, man, any way I can help, anytime I'm available, it's all G, man. Good vibes. You asked great questions. You did your homework. You knew exactly what you was talking about, and I enjoyed the conversation.
Hey, man, I appreciate that, you know what I mean? It's not every day a legendary individual like yourself actually gives me the praise and tells me that I ask good questions, man. It definitely fuels my fire to keep going.
Yeah, great question. Great interview. Like I said, it felt more like a conversation, so good deal. I can do that.
Thank you so much, Brainz. But for now, I got to say, definitely stay safe out there on your end, and we definitely shall talk soon.
You already know, man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you as well. Have yourself a wonderful night, Brainz.
Yes, sir. 216, you can see it in my face. Yeah.